It's been a big summer for Idaho's rivers. Some of them swole from all the rainfall that has been pulled in southern Idaho, helping us get out of a drought in most of the state. Boise River reported records for the float season so far. There's still a little bit left to go. And Idaho Fish and Game just stocked the Boise River with 300 salmon for anglers to hook onto there. So what's the catch? Well, for some, it's walleye. They're a growing population in Idaho rivers right now. As we reported this yesterday, the predatory fish starting to gain ground in our native salmon, which is why they want you out there catching these walleye, pulling them out of the water. But there's another catch out there. Andrew Bartline learned of a new, I guess you could call it a predatory species that could be taking away some of the headlines today.
You
Dare I
guess.
say a land shark or a shark?
It is a salmon shark specifically. And
What?
I don't know what you mean by I guess.
A new species?
Here it is.
Okay.
Yeah, there's not sharks in Idaho, so you can be half right, I guess, saying that, Brian. In a collection of calls and emails hit up Idaho Fish and Game this week about a shark spotting in Riggins, as Brian just said. And that shark, though, it's all teeth with really no bite.
We started getting some calls about a shark on the beach. Obviously left us scratching our heads there. Some of the callers assured us that, yes, they know what a shark looks like and it's a shark. And, you know, spoiler alert, we went down and there was a dead shark on the beach.
You found a dead shark on the beach around Riggins?
Yes, yes.
Roger Phillips is the Idaho Fish and Game spokesperson.
Our crews identified it as a salmon shark. We know these things can't fly. They can't survive in fresh water. So, you know, kind of narrows it down. Somebody left it there.
Why would somebody do anything like that?
That's a fair question, but since we're sitting here talking about it, maybe that's what they had in mind, is just a good prank and, you know, maybe tip of the hat to them. Here we are.
How many people reached out to you and said, hey, Fish and Game, I'm seeing a shark in Riggins by the salmon?
Well, we got several calls down there and it's kind of blown up on social media. No big surprise. A dead shark on the beach in Idaho tends to, you know, gather some attention.
I have this like funny perception in my head of Fish and Game conducting an investigation on something like this.
When we went and looked at it, our guys looked at it and said, yep, that's a shark, and grabbed it and took it and threw it in the freezer. So if somebody lost their pet shark, we've got it. We would appreciate it if people didn't haul fish from the coast over and dump them in Idaho, or dump any fish in Idaho for that matter. But as far as, you know, this being a real environmental concern, it's one small dead fish.
I saw you guys had some fun when you announced this in your press release.
Well, why wouldn't we have a little fun, you know? Because when this thing blows up and people are saying, is this real? Well, yeah, in this case it is. And it's a fairly small shark, so I don't think we're going to need a bigger boat.
So no harm to the local environment, no harm to the local salmon like walleye, but still a real shark. It's just a dead shark.
Yeah.
And again, I don't know if you're quite an angler yourself. You don't need a bigger boat.
That was a great line pulled from Jaws there. I can't imagine the smell on that beach, though, when they went down to investigate this thing with a dead shark. How long? They don't even know how long it'd been there?
It probably hadn't been alive long. He says the only place he knows they could have really caught it from would be like the Pacific coast.
Yeah.
So I would assume like off the coast of Oregon.
And drive it all the way in.
That's 5-hour drive, probably more. It's a long way, so it probably wasn't smelling good, probably hasn't been alive too long. And yeah, those things can't live in fresh water anyway, so.
Well, if you're looking for attention, you just got it. Congratulations.
I know, it was a big win.
Thanks, Andrew.